Hi guys, it's Madeline. Welcome to my channel. This is the first of many planned videos that I have with a mound of career and lifestyle advice. So please do like and subscribe below if you like what you hear as I delve into all of the tips and tricks and advice that I wish that I had from the beginning to begin to build the kind of lifestyle that supports the crushing of your career goals. It's always really hard to even know where to begin when asked, what kind of advice do you have for young professionals or for students who are finishing up college and about to start their careers and so on and so forth. But instead of trying to answer a question that could easily turn into an 8-hour video, I'm going to be breaking it down into much smaller, digestible topics to be able to give you the kind of advice that you can truly take and turn into action in your own lives and careers. Of course, the whole point of this is to help you in your lives and careers, so please do let me know down below in the comments what you need to know. I have put a lot of thought into what I wish that I had known 10 years ago when I was just starting out, but I very much look forward to being inspired and learning from you guys as well. So let's get to it, what you've actually been patiently waiting for. But before we delve into it, I want to make absolutely clear what I mean by I'd never make a move at work without. When I say I never make a move at work without this thing, I mean I don't go to meetings, I don't pop into anyone's offices. You simply will not find me at work without this item. And it's honestly pretty hard to find me even outside of work without it, but especially at work. And I'm talking about this guy. Now, I know, so many of you just rolled your eyes and are already mentally threatening to turn off the video, but I'm going to ask that you hang on just a quick second because it's actually you guys who I'm most out to reach today. You are my target audience. First, let's break down why I specifically recommend a handwritten notebook. And then I'll talk about tech for a second because I do recognize that we are a tech-based society, and I want to talk about why in most professions, not all of them, I specifically recommend against using tech for note-taking purposes in the workplace. And then I'll get into why I am personally in love with this particular notebook, which is a CR Markings by C.R. Gibson. This little book says a lot about me, and it could say a lot about you too. Some of those things are that you're professional, that you're reliable, that you're detail-oriented, and that you're intelligent. And these are definitely the kinds of words that you want to come to mind when your bosses and coworkers are asked to describe you. So first and foremost, professionalism. A notebook denotes a sense of professionalism. There are going to be a number of things that we talk about on my channel that professionals do or use that you in turn should do or use simply because they are examples of the kind of ways that professionals spot other professionals. Just go with the pack on this one. Trust me, it's going to be worth it. A good notebook is just as important to your overall professional image as a good suit in the right situation or well-manicured nails. Always having a notebook on you also denotes a sense of reliability. If you always have a notebook on you and are always jotting down just the smallest, not taking pages of notes per day, but small bits of all of the ideas that you come across throughout the day, all of the interactions that you have, then people are going to assume an air of reliability and begin to rely on you for note-taking when they forgot their own. for relaying messages to coworkers because they know that you're not going to relay a message inappropriately, and to recall facts and information when they forget themselves. This is an assumption, a subconscious assumption of reliability, and it's a very useful tool as we begin to build our careers. It's also an example of letting an inanimate object do the work for you. Just let the notebook take the responsibility of being reliable off your shoulders. I'll also note that having a notebook is superior to just always bringing a slip of paper and pen to a meeting, because if all of the information that you come across throughout the day is always recorded in the same place, and you always have your notebook with you, then all of the information that you come across that you might then need to recall for whatever reason is always going to be on you, and not on some random slip of paper that probably ended up in the trash at some point or is scattered all over your desk and unorganized, so on and so forth. And then, similar to reliability, having a notebook on you denotes a sense of intelligence. It's kind of like when people wear glasses and other people just assume that they're intelligent because they look good in them. Having a notebook denotes a sense of intelligence because if you are writing down the most important interactions throughout your day, then people are going to assume that you've got smarts because you are killing it at the office. Double the points if you actually review your notes at least once every 1 to 2 weeks. And then we can talk about being detail oriented. Now, this is another example of just letting an inanimate object do the work for you. For some of my A types, being organized comes very naturally and very easy. But for the rest of us, myself included, being organized is hard work. But I want to make it clear that using a notebook and being organized doesn't mean that you need to be making charts of information with color-coded pens and multicolored highlighting and prettiness and all of that. No. All it means simply is that when you are recording your interactions throughout the day and when you need to recall something, you know exactly where to go for it. It's right here. Even if you have to flip through a few pages to track it down and find it, you know exactly where it is and can find it like that. So, those are my main whys as to why you need a notebook. But let's talk tech. And before we do, I just want to note that I understand that we are a tech-based society. I really do. I grew up in that generation. But there are many circumstances where I think in most positions, in most industries, carrying around a handheld notebook is far superior to using tech in that manner in the office. But I do recognize that there are certain industries that is not going to apply to, and certain positions that's not going to apply to. So if it makes sense for you to use tech for note-taking and recording purposes throughout your day, then please do you. But I would still encourage you to hear me out for the next minute or two, because especially the generations that come after me won't have lived in a time where you ever had to use these because there wasn't tech available in the office. So you won't have experienced both of them to be able to make the better choice. So appreciate you sticking around for half a second. First, I'm a huge proponent of the write it, remember it theory. It's scientific, it's proven, it's true. Just typing something up only gets it out of your head to be able to find it at a later date, as long as you actually remember what you titled it. Whereas using a handheld notebook and writing in it, the physical act of writing helps you to recall that information when you need it, which also ups your chances of being able to For example, save your boss in the middle of a meeting when he or she can't quite remember that one fact that you both learned in an important meeting a week ago, and you recall it and save his or her behind. Or let's say that maybe you made connections between a finance committee meeting and a new marketing campaign that won you a new special project at work that eventually leads to a promotion. I could go on and on and on with examples like these, but it's very important in our careers that we be able to recall all the things that we've learned in our daily interactions at any given time. And so using the notebook to help with muscle memory is very important as we begin to build our careers. Second, technology fails a lot. We have all been in that situation as a college student where you spend hours and hours on a report and in the midst of it forget to save, the computer crashes, it's gone forever, you think your life is over, and in some situations it has been, at least grade-wise. Or maybe you lost thousands of photos and videos when your phone shut off, never to be turned back on again, and the phone text says, "I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do." Some of my older professionals might have had an experience similar to one of my own, where you show up at a conference and your PowerPoint or slideshow doesn't come up and you're not prepared mentally to do it without that visual. Be on the lookout for a future video on how to assume and prepare for technology fails throughout your career. But for now, I find the notebook superior because, number one, it doesn't need charging, ever. Much lighter, which can be especially beneficial if you move around a lot in your particular position. It doesn't ever shut off and refuse to ever turn back on again, or at least when you need it. And I personally think, but this is definitely just my opinion, that it offers a lot more creativity in how you record your interactions throughout the day. Again, personal opinion. Third, technology is distracting. I guarantee that not a single person who watches this video turns on airplane mode when you walk into a meeting or even walk into work itself. Even if your phone is on silent and no one else can hear the little vibrations, it's going to be distracting to you. Now, I do recognize that there are times during meetings when having, for example, Google at your fingertips can be beneficial. But I'm willing to go out on a wire and say that at least 95% of the time, it's really not necessary to have that information at your fingertips right in that given moment. And the benefits truly outweigh the risks on this one. Lastly, technology is deceptive. When you're working on a phone, tablet, laptop, whatever, during a meeting, the image, the overall vibe that you were projecting is likely not what you want it to be. People are going to assume that you are not present and likely that you are doing multiple things at once, which gives off that vibe that you are not truly present or don't care about whatever the meeting's about, which, whether that's true or not, is not what you want to be projecting. Conversely, using a handheld or handwritten notebook gives off the vibe, as long as you're occasionally taking a note or two here and there, that you're not only present in the meeting, but that you're truly interested in whatever it is that the meeting has been called about. And if it's important to your company, it should be important to you too, no matter how menial it is. So, if you want to really take control of your professional image and for your coworkers and bosses to describe you as professional, reliable, and organized, then take a notebook with you wherever you go in your professional world. The only exceptions, because there's always exceptions, it's fine, being the bathroom for sanitary reasons, and certain, almost all social events at work where you're truly expected to be social. Don't use the notebook as your introvert shield to stay away from people, but definitely do use it as a tool in the workplace to help advance your career. Take it to meetings, all meetings. Keep it handy at your desk, just right there beside you, so that when someone walks up, it's easy to flip open and jot down one or two things, or maybe find the information that they're asking you about, whatever. Take it every single time that you walk into your boss's office. Every single time. I don't care if you're just popping in for a quick question, yes or no answer. Do not show up in your boss's office without your notebook. Period. Ever. Now for me, I am 1000% in love with this particular notebook. I do recommend that you try out different ones, because I certainly did before I came across this one. At that point, it was love at first sight, and now I almost never have less than 3. I at least buy 3 at a time, so that I never find myself without one when I get to the end. It's a bit of an obsession, obviously, this love relationship, but I consider it to be a positive obsession at the very least. First of all, I love this one because the pages, if I can find one that's blank, this one's almost to the end. The pages are lightly gridded. I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but I love having gridded pages instead of lines because they give me more flexibility in how I record information. There's also a spot for you to write, if you're using the whole page for one thing to cover one meeting or something like that, then there's a place to write what it's about and a place to record the date, but you don't have to use that, obviously. I also love the gridding because it helps to make, if I do want to make like a very simple chart or something to kind of organize something in my head, or to just draw lines and connect pieces of information together, it's a lot easier. I also love this bookmark in the back. You can use the long edge to kind of draw lines between things if you want to. I've never actually used the measuring part of it. I'm not that obsessive about my notes. The little holes help you to draw little designs, which is awesome. I love this middle-sized square for creating little check mark boxes. And you can use the smallest circle like a bullet point. But I also love using the diamond as bullet points and the arrow for more important information to highlight. So there's a lot of creativity to use. This is kind of just an extra. I personally always keep at least 2 pens on me. Usually it's just black and blue, but sometimes I like to be a little bit more creative and I'll have like black and purple or something like that if I really need something to brighten my day a little bit more. Anyways, but that's definitely not necessary. That's just a personal preference. The little bungee that helps keep it all together definitely helps, because as much as I love this thing, I do occasionally throw it across the room or something, I don't know. And it also helps keep things together when it's in my backpack with a bunch of other stuff. It doesn't ever open. Last but not least, these 3 little ribbons really come in handy. Let me show you. There are 3 of them, which seems a little bit too much. And when I first got this, I was like, why would you need 3 bookmarks in a notebook? Well, it turns out that I use them, all 3 of them, quite often, because especially when I'm asked to take notes in a meeting and then I'm asked to type them up and disseminate them afterwards, then I use 2 of them to mark the beginning and end of those notes from that meeting, and then the 3rd one to mark where my next blank page is, because sometimes it takes me a day or 2 to type those up if it's been communicated that I don't have to have the notes out right away. Anyways, super helpful to have all 3. I'm sure there are other little things about this that I'm not thinking about right now, but that's basically why I love this particular notebook so very much. I will definitely put a link down below in the description box so that if you want to check it out, you can certainly get it. I get mine from Office Max or Office Depot. Are those the same thing now? I think they are. Anyways, I'll link it up for you. So that's it for notebooks. Please do like and subscribe below if you like what you hear so that your YouTube feed continues to be peppered with a little bit of good career advice. Definitely let me know down in the comments what else you need to know, and be on the lookout for more good upcoming content. Bye.